Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Manon and today I want to give you like a small update into what I've been reading recently. It's like kind of like a quarterly update. So yeah, let's get started. So the first book that I am gonna talk about is this one, and that is The City of Mist by Ruiz. I think that's how you say his name. You might know him from the series of The Cemetery of Forgotten Books, or have seen some of those books seen bookstores. I honestly read this book years ago, and this book is a lot smaller and it's just a kind of collection of short stories of other things that happen around the same time as the books in the original series. Okay, so now, because I read those books years ago, I wasn't fully aware of the storylines anymore and wasn't super clear on them. And I can tell you now, like, you can just read a short story collection and still be amazed by it and love it. So if you think that those books are too big, or you're just like, I just don't want to get started on that, but still want to read something by it, read this small book. Like, it's just a bunch of short collection stories and they mesmerize me. Like, he has such a great way of writing, in the sense that in a few sentences he can create a scene and you just feel like you're walking along with the main character on the streets of Barcelona, like in early mornings or whenever, and just it becomes such a vivid picture in my head. So I really enjoyed this. I know it's not beginning of summer, it came out in Dutch, and I've seen some other language, but I think English isn't available yet. I think somewhere early November. I'll put the date up here when it comes out or when it published in English. It's definitely worth the read. I loved it. It just reminded me so much of why I love certain stories, certain books, and there's definitely also writing style that I can really get behind. The next one that I read was like the two books by Kohei McQuiston, which is One Last Stop and Red, White and Royal Blue. I think I initially read One Last Stop first, and then I realized that she was the same author of Red, White and Royal Blue, which I've heard so much about, and I have to admit, like, I knew what I was getting myself into. Like, I knew it would be like toothrottingly sweet romance novels, and I was here for it. Like, I knew what I was getting myself into, and I think on that front it definitely delivered. I have to admit though that I enjoyed One Last Stop a lot more than Red, White and Royal Blue. I think my main thing with the second one is that I think if she would have, because it's so halfly in our world and halfly not, that I feel like if she would have just changed all the names and everything, it just would have probably worked better. But I also like, it's like, you know, reality TV, like, you know, it doesn't hold a significant amount of substance, but you know what you're getting yourself into, and it's super entertaining. And that's what these books are for me. Like, I really enjoyed them for what they were, and what I was looking for is exactly what they delivered. I don't think that they over-delivered for me on that front. For wanting to read really sweet romantic books and novels, these were great. Another book that I read is like beginning of summer was The Binding by Bridget Collins, and this book, there's like three parts of the book. So the book story follow the main character, and you get in the first character, something happened to him, he was kind of ill, so he goes to a binder, and a binder is someone who binds people's memories, so they tend to forget. So I also have to kind of think of Sunshine of the Spotless Mind in that sense. But yeah, he goes out and he has like the gift to bind people's memories, and he slowly starts realizing that also his memories are binded, and to kind of figure out like what happened, what's going on. And it's like the first part, you kind of have to get into the story and the world, and I was like not mad at it. Like, I understand that you have to like set up the world and everything and characters, so it was fine with that. And the second part of the book, you kind of figure out what happened during the time that he's lost his memories, and I really enjoyed that part. Like, I think everyone did. it was great written, and you could follow the stories. You're like, yes, you're so rooting for like these two characters. And then after like the third part, it could have been handled so well. I think especially the ending, because the ending is super abrupt. And I was listening to it in audiobook at a certain point, and it's like, and it just finished. I was like, this is the end of the book. I'm like, wait, what? Did I miss the ending? And it just sucks, because if you'd have added like 1 or 2 more chapters, you could have rounded out a lot easier, and it would have just been so much more fulfilling to finish the book. Because now it's kind of like consistently the ending, which is, I feel like the third part was kind of felt very rushed, especially because of the end. And I feel like either whether that was the author's choice or the publishers just wanted to cap it off at a certain amount of pages, or whatever was going on, it sucks, because if it felt like you're really getting into the book, especially in the second part, and then the third part of the book was just kind of like, okay, what direction are we going? What's happening? Yeah, so the thing is, I enjoyed half the book, and the other half I was just kind of like, why? What happened? I also read a non-fiction one, and I read finally finished The Writing Tools by Roy Peter Clarke, which basically just talks about 55 tools that will help you in your writing, whether that is stories like fiction, non-fiction, journalistic pieces, even essays. Like he sometimes talks about essays and stuff like that. And it just helps you to make a better writing. And I feel like a lot of them are really good tips. It's very easy. Like, for example, set the pace with sentence length, where he talks about what that means. Then he gives like examples and like how you can spot them and the differences. And then he ends up with like a workshop. So how you can do it yourself or how you can spot it. And I really feel like it was really easy. Like, it was easy to understand. You knew what you was getting. Like, he explains it really well. I had not one tool that I didn't explain when I finished that chapter. So yeah, if you're into writing, you want to get better at it, definite tip to at least scour through them. I think there is a tip for everyone that could like help make your writing better. So there's another book that I started on like a few months back, like 2 months back, 3 months almost, which is What We Owe Eachother by Scanlon. This is a philosophy book that is partially mentioned as one of the main inspirations of the TV show The Good Place. And I was fascinated, and I was like, I just want to understand it more. So I bought the book and I'm reading it. I think I'm over halfway. Like, it's a study book. Like, that's just what it is. So there's a lot of jargon, and it therefore, and also because English is not my first language, it takes me a lot longer to read. So yeah, but other than that, it is interesting. I find it very fascinating take on philosophy and morality and ethics. I also have to admit, when I started watching Good Place, I was like, Chidi, make decisions. This is like the worst. After reading even one chapter of those books, I was like, I understand Chidi now.
I've made my decision. I want to start crying.
Like, if this is like what he consistently thinks of every time he makes me a decision, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, you just understand the complete pressure. And he obviously is so, you know, on his mind consistently about this, so I can understand, and he now gets ulcers. Like, this book, the most significant thing it did for me was, outside of explaining a lot more about philosophy to me, also helped me understand Chidi really well. So I think I have a little part left like this, so I hope to finish it like in October. Okay, so one of the last things that I mostly ended up doing in summer was read manga. Now, I know that some people may be like, that's not a book. And I was like, well, it's still reading, and I think you know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to read manga or comic books. Like, it's still a form of reading, and I think if that is what you prefer, then that's totally fine. Earlier this year, I got into animes, partially due to TikTok, I'll admit. And obviously, you know, a lot of the anime series don't come out at the same time as the manga does. And I can tell you now, why wait for the new series if you can have your heart ripped out and your soul crushed by the manga itself? It's like, some of them are really good. I think I've mostly what I usually did was I would watch the series up until the point that they come out, and then I would finish reading the manga, or I'm still working on it. Ones that I'm almost completely catched up on is My Hero Academia, which I really enjoy. Haikyuu, which I've almost finished the manga of. Like, I've watched the series and I enjoyed it so much. There's one thing, by the way, that I've learned about anime is I either really enjoy, sports related ones, or ones that are about like epic battles, or fighting, and especially ones that have like people with powers. So I've been caught up to My Hero Academia almost. I think I'm like 2 chapters behind. Haikyuu, which I've almost finished, and also Jujutsu Kaisen, which I am now getting into. I think I've watched the series a few weeks ago. Definitely Jujutsu Kaisen is my favorite, and that's kind of also what I've been reading in the past few months. So it's been good. It's kind of been a mixed match of things. This is generally how it goes. I just hop from one genre to the other. Right now, I'm reading a few more Dutch literature, like for the next few months. I want to read more Dutch literature, and I have a few books on my TBR list that I really want to read and I'm really excited about. And then I just have some free space left for whatever books I either come across or books that I just really wanted to read or feel like in the moment. Because I think that's important too. Maybe I feel like romance, maybe I feel like contemporary novels, maybe I feel like sci-fi or fantasy. I don't know. If you have good tips or anything, I'd love to hear them, and maybe I'll read them this year. Bye. Oh no, wait. I said bye, but I don't. If you enjoyed this also, just subscribe, comment, and like, and hit the notification bell. And then you'll be updated whenever I put a new video up. Alright, seriously, goodbye. Love talking to you guys so much. And we'll see you again next week. Bye!